Do you remember the rounding off roller coaster? Step number 1, circle the digit that may change. Step 2, underline the digit on the right. Step 3, round off the circled digit. This means if the underlined digit is 5 or more, add 1 to the circled digit. If the underlined digit is 4 or less, then the circled digit remains the same. Step 4, all the digits to the right of the circled digit are changed to 0. If there are any digits to the left of the circled digit, then those ones always stay the same. Can you remember how to round off to the nearest 10? When rounding off to the nearest 10, which number do you think is going to change? That's right, the tens number. So circle the tens number. Now look at the number on its right. In this case, that's going to be the units column number. Now you can sing our rounding off song. 5 or more, let it soar. 4 or less, let it rest. Let's take a look at an example. 748, round that off to the nearest 10. Circle the tens number, which is the 4. Underline the digit on the right, which is the 8. Sing the rounding off song. 5 or more, let it soar. 4 or less, let it rest. Is the underlined digit 5 or more? Yes. This means that we need to round up. Rounding up means add 1 to the tens column. Let's add a little 1 there. 4 plus 1 is 5. So you write down your 5. Everything to the right becomes 0. So that 8 becomes a 0. And everything to the left of the circled digit stays the same. So it was a 7, it still stays a 7. Awesome. Let's round off to the nearest 100. When rounding off to the nearest 100, which number do you think is going to change? Obviously, it's the hundreds number. So circle the hundreds number. Now look at the number on its right. In this case, it's going to be the tens column number. Now you can sing our rounding off song. 5 or more, let it soar. 4 or less, let it rest. Let's take a look at an example. 509, rounded off to the nearest 100. Step number 1, circle the hundreds number, which is this 5. Circle it, underline the digit on the right, which is a 0, underline it. Now sing our rounding off song. 5 or more, let it soar. 4 or less, let it rest. The underlined digit is a 0, and this is less than 5, which means that we're going to round down. When we round down, it means the circled digit stays the same. So the 5 is going to stay exactly the same. Everything to the right becomes 0. The tens column number is already a 0, so you don't have to change it, you just have to write it down again. The 9 is still on the right of the circled digit, so we have to change that into a 0. Done. Last one, rounding off to the nearest 1,000. When rounding off to the nearest 1,000, which number do you think is going to change? It's definitely the thousands number. So circle the thousands number, then look at the number on its right. In this case, it's going to be the hundreds column number. Now you can sing our song. 5 or more, let it soar. 4 or less, let it rest. Let's take a look at one last example. 6,773. First step is to circle the thousands number, which is that 6. Now underline the digit on the right, which is that 7. Underline it. Now sing the song. 5 or more, let it soar. 4 or less, let it rest. 7 is 5 or more, which means that we're going to be rounding up. If we round up, it means we have to add 1 to the thousands column. 6 plus 1 is 7. Everything to the right becomes 0. 7 becomes a 0, the 10's 7 becomes a 0, and the 3 becomes a 0. Done.